Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Coast News. And as always, got some amazing news from different theme parks, rides, attractions and events all over the world. So let's get straight into the news today. Our top story for tonight, Top Thrill 2 has officially opened at Cedar Point. And this is one of the most anticipated comebacks for probably any roller coaster in the United States. And obviously, if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically Top Thrill 2 originally opened in 2003 as Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point in Ohio in the United States. It is an Intamin accelerator coaster. The layout originally consisted of just the one launch at a top speed of 120 miles an hour, which was the world's fastest roller coaster at the time, and which is then followed by a top hat, which is about 420 foot tall, which at the time of opening was the world's tallest. And that was pretty much the whole ride. Like literally, as soon as they've gone through the top hat, it's into the brakes. So it's a very short ride experience, but it's become highly regarded as one of the best rides at Cedar Point. But obviously, in terms of operations, it has been a nightmare for the maintenance team at Cedar Point. Like they've even said, it's one of the most stressful rides they've had to deal with over the course of its original lifespan. And obviously, in 2021, an accident occurred on the ride, which basically led to okay, we need to change the safety standards of this ride to bring it obviously up to modern sort of safety standards, even though because it's 20 years old. So obviously they closed it in 2021. It was closed throughout the whole of 2022 and 2023. And during that time, they're actually planning to not just change the safety regulations on the ride, but also just completely change the ride experience overall. So obviously, one of the things they planned to do was to obviously make the ride more reliable, which meant getting rid of the hydraulic launch, which was obviously expensive to maintain and not as reliable, and change it to an LSM launch. But obviously, because LSM launches aren't as powerful as magnetic launches, it meant that the ride would have to do multiple laps on the same launch to get over the 420 foot top hat. So what they decided to do is extend the layout of the ride, add a beyond vertical spike, a 420 foot spike, going backwards, make the single launch a triple multi-pass launch, which obviously would make it the world's fastest and tallest triple launch coaster. And we obviously decided to give the ride sort of a new name, new colour scheme, rename it to Top Thrill 2, and they've completely changed the ride experience. And obviously it opened this past Saturday, and apparently is absolutely fantastic. Like the actual forces you feel on those launches, even though it's not as powerful, because obviously it's now 3 launches that have less power than the original launch from before, but apparently it's absolutely amazing. I'm so glad this ride has returned. In other news today, the entrance portal for Hyperia at Thorpe Park has officially been constructed. And I'm actually kind of surprised how good this ride is going to look, despite the fact that it's not got a whole lot of theming, if any. If you know what I'm talking about, basically Hyperia is a brand new Mack Rides hypercoaster that is opening at Thorpe Park in 2 weeks' time, on the 24th of May 2024. And upon opening, it is going to take the record for the tallest and fastest roller coaster in the UK, as well as the roller coaster with the most airtime in the UK, or the most weightless moment, should I say. Because obviously these stats were revealed a few weeks ago for this ride, and it is actually revealed that the ride is going to have 14.8 seconds of weightlessness. But obviously that doesn't completely just mean airtime, because obviously they actually showed a map of where the weightless parts of the ride are. Obviously parts of the weightless bit include the first drop, the dive loop, the Immelman, the outer banked dive, the outer banked hill after the splashdown, and then the final hill just before the break. So I think there's about 6 moments of weightlessness, but they all last for multiple seconds at a time. I think the drop is the longest one, or maybe the outer banked dive. But obviously all adds to 14.8 seconds of airtime. Or weightlessness, should I say. Because obviously on the dive loop, you've not actually got airtime, you've got hang time, which is obviously a different thing. But obviously the ride experience is going to be amazing, but one thing that has concerned many people since it was originally announced is what theming it's going to have. And it's pretty much gathered by now that the ride is going to have no sort of major theming elements. It's going to be more stylized, a bit like Icon at Blackpool Pleasure Beach, which is a shame because I would have loved to see some cute major theming pieces on this ride. But obviously, we know the reasons for that being it was one of the last projects actually approved by Nick Varney when he was in charge of Merlin, and obviously there were actually cutbacks to the budget of the ride. So obviously that means that they can build this absolutely huge ride, but there's not a lot of theming to go with it. But apparently the budget was actually increased a little bit to add a tiny bit more stylisation and theming. And obviously Thorpe Park have stated that going forward, all their new rides and attractions and experiences will focus more on immersive theming. So that potentially leaves room for Hyperia to have a brand new theming as its lifespan continues. And obviously in terms of like stylisation, the ride itself, the area itself is going to present it really nicely. One of the main standout features of the ride's area is the new entrance portal, which actually consists of 2 wings on both sides with the word Hyperia arching over like the start of the queue, and it absolutely looks really amazing. It's also very huge as well. I think it's about 15 metres in width. So it's really cool to see, and I can't wait for Hyperia to open. Also in the news today, Universal Studios Hollywood have confirmed that Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift is officially going to be opening in 2026. And this ride is probably going to be one of the best roller coasters. It's easily going to be the best roller coaster at Universal Studios Hollywood when it does open in 2026. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift is an upcoming Intamin multi-launch coaster that is scheduled to open at Universal Studios Hollywood in 2026. It was originally supposed to open in 2025, I think. At least I think that's what the rumoured... In fact, no. It wasn't a rumoured opening. I'm pretty sure they did say it was going to open in 2025 originally, so it would have been opening next year. However, they recently came out with the official announcement for the name of the ride, which is going to be Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, and the opening year of 2026. So that's 2 major details we now know about this ride. Obviously, because the name Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift have been rumoured for a while. In fact, I think they might have actually seen leaked trademarks for the name. So they've now confirmed it, which is good. And obviously the opening year, it's been delayed by a year. Now, I assume this will be to do with construction, because obviously the ride itself is being built on like sort of a hillside. It's not just being built on like a flat level site, it's being built basically on the side of a hill. And obviously they've got to do a lot of excavation in order to basically accompany the concrete floors and all the foundations for the ride. So I'm pretty sure at this moment in time, no vertical construction has started. They're still doing lots of groundwork and excavation. I don't know how long it'll be until actual vertical construction starts, but I've not heard anything about any concrete floors or foundations going in, so it'll probably be a while yet until vertical construction does actually start. But there's also a ton of rumours going about for this ride. There's a big rumour going around that the trains will actually have spinning cars. It's not like the normal sort of spinning cars where it spins freely, or even spins in like full 360 degrees. Basically, the ride cars have the ability to rotate, but it's like a controlled rotation, and they don't like do a full. I don't think they will do a full 360 degrees. It'll be like more like rotating from side to side, left and right, so that it like sort of simulates the feeling of when you're driving and you do with like a drift. It's sort of like that. Obviously, hence the name Hollywood Drift. If that does happen, that'll actually be really cool, because we're going to get like sort of like, it'll add the immersion to it as well. You get the feeling of obviously like you're drifting like while racing like a supercar or something, and it's going to be absolutely cool if that does happen. And I cannot wait for Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift to open in 2026 at Universal Studios Hollywood. And finally in the news today, also on the topic of Universal destinations and experiences, the results for the public consultation for Universal Studios Great Britain are now in. And these results are overwhelmingly positive, and I am so glad that this is like, I'm so confident that this park will get built. But if you know what I'm talking about, basically Universal Studios Great Britain is a brand new theme park that is scheduled to open in Bedford, England, before the end of this decade. We don't have an exact opening year, but they've said they plan to open it before the end of this decade, so before 2030. That's probably the very latest they want to open it, subject to obviously planning permission, obviously construction phase and everything in between. But obviously it was announced towards the end of last year that Universal destinations and experiences were indeed planning to build a brand new theme park located in the Bedford area of the UK. And when this announcement came out, literally the internet went wild. The entire community have gone wild over this brand new park, because it's going to change everything when it does get built, or if it does. Mainly to do with the fact that it's going to bring so much competition to Merlin Entertainments and Merlin's monopoly of attractions in the UK. So like literally, obviously with Merlin, you've got so many different, not just theme parks, but visitor attractions in general. We've got Alton Towers, Chessington World Ventures, Thorpe Park, Legoland Windsor, obviously, plus the 2 Legoland centres, all the Sea Life centres, all the dungeons, the London Eye, Shrek's Adventure, all the Man with Swords, Wax Museums, literally Blackpool. There's so many things that Merlin have in the UK. And obviously Cadbury World as well, which was added onto the annual pass recently. So they have like a huge sort of empire of theme park and visitor attractions in this country. So when Universal Great Britain opens, obviously according to plan, it's gonna, bear in mind it's just one theme park that's being built, or potentially 2. I don't know. Apparently, according to plan information, there's space to build a second park and also a version of Universal City Walk. So potentially 3 attractions on this one site, competing with all of Merlin Entertainments. But obviously, because we know that Universal Destinations and Experiences, they build their parks on a much sort of grander scale than Merlin, shall we say. So it's going to bring so much competition to the UK, and it's going to probably cause Merlin to step up their game a bit. And obviously it's looking more likely that it's going to happen because, like I said at the start, the results for the public consultation have come in, and a whopping 92% of people are actually in support of this project. Less than 4% are not in support, and only 4% don't know. So it's looking very likely that this park is going to get built. And when it does, it's going to absolutely change everything in the UK, and I cannot wait for it to open. So that is it for this week's episode of Coast News. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you did, then please make sure to like and subscribe, and comment your like to see you in the next video. Goodbye.